Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. My name is Catherine Leswing, and I work for the Bureau of Student Wellness at the New Hampshire Department of Education. Thanks for tuning in to today's afternoon bell session. Today, we're very excited to be joined by Dawn LaValle from Playworks New England. Before I jump in, I just want to remind everyone that we are going live most weekdays in the morning time on Facebook with our morning coffee chat. And we have our afternoon bell sessions on YouTube Live, like we're doing here today at 3 p.m. We're also posting all our resources on our website, nhlearnsremotely.com. So we hope you'll check us out. I'm excited to be joined by Dawn LaValle from Playworks New England. Mute this. All right, there we go. Let's see. So today we are very excited to be joined by Playworks and for Dawn to introduce the Playworks program to us and give our viewers some interactive tips on how to engage in healthy play at home. This we know is an important topic at all times, but with most people working and learning remotely now, we are in more need than ever to be reminded how to move our bodies, have fun, and to engage in play fairly. This is also a topic that's near and dear to my heart because almost a decade ago, I worked as a Playworks coach in Baltimore City Public Schools. So I have definitely seen the Playworks magic work firsthand. So we're very pleased to have Dawn LaValle with us today. She's the Regional Partnerships Manager with Playworks New England, where she builds relationships with schools, districts, and community organizations who seek to promote the value of play for their students. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dawn to get us some more information about Playworks in New England.
Great. Thank you, Catherine, and thanks for inviting us here today and for all of you for joining us. I'm excited to have you here and to talk a little bit about Playworks and what we have to offer generally, as well as what we have for some play-at-home resources right now. So like Catherine mentioned, I am the Regional Partnerships Manager for Playworks. So I specifically work with schools in New Hampshire and Maine on how to incorporate more play in their school day. And so if you don't already know Playworks, as you can see here, we're the leading national organization that leverages the power of play to transform both physical and emotional health for children. So we're getting kids more physically active, as well as helping them to develop those social and emotional skills through play. Because as we all know, play is kind of the language of children, right? It's how they are processing the world around them and how they are learning and moving forward. And so we work to incorporate more of that in the school day for every kid and help them to feel safe and healthy in their school community. And that looks a variety of ways at different schools. So as Catherine mentioned, we do have full-time play workers that we call them Playworks coaches that are at schools in cities all around the country. That's actually how I started with Playworks as well. Back in 2012, I was a Playworks coach at a school in Boston. And we partner with schools in that really intense way, all the way up to kind of training for professional development for teachers just around how to incorporate play and positivity in their school day, whether it's in the classroom or outside the classroom. Our major focus, though, is on recess, and it's thinking about how we are making sure all of your students have the options and opportunities they need to get physically active and be really successful at recess. And so obviously recess is a thing that happens when kids are in school buildings all day. And it's not necessarily happening in the same way right now. And so we have some resources to try and help make that happen. But it's generally one of the biggest levers that we have to get kids physically active and to get them thinking about those social and emotional skills. So as you can see from this, the reason we do this work is because we've seen the impact of it. And Catherine and I have both felt this on the ground in schools that at Playworks schools, students are more vigorously physically active. So increasing that physical activity, more ready to learn, going back to the school, to the building, more focused and ready to dive back in, as well as decreased bullying and students feeling safer at schools, which obviously those are a little more applicable to when students are in school buildings full time. And so today I'm going to focus a little bit more on that physical activity and really getting students ready to learn, helping I'm going to keep saying students, but really we all need to be able to get up and move around in order to be able to focus, right? And so both of these things are linked to that. So with that, we want to be able to continue to promote those things while students are home. And so we have developed these play at home resources, really with the idea of, like I've mentioned, getting kids to stay active, helping them to manage stress and anxiety as we're all going through a pretty difficult situation, helping them to focus academically, so to be able to adapt to the new environment they are in and learning, continuing to develop those executive functioning and social and emotional skills, and then really to feel connected. So I think we're all feeling a little disconnected at this moment and figuring out new ways to connect with one another. And so this is another potential way for students to do that. So I do have the link up there on the slide, and hopefully Catherine can put that in the chat box for you as well, in case you can't click it on the slide. But it's got really 3 main resources on there. So the first one being, we're actually doing live recess 3 times a day on our Facebook page. We're gonna watch one of those together in a minute and maybe do a little moving. And this is really that feel connected piece. So it's meant to be live and engaging and helping students to really feel like they're still playing with their friends and getting to know other people. So we've got live recess. We've got the Play at Home playbook, which the exciting thing about this is we actually have it translated into 7 different languages on the website. And so the live recess is primarily in English. We have done a couple bilingual ones in Spanish and English, but if there's other languages you're looking for, check out the playbook. They might have that option for you. And then finally, we've got a video library that is a variety of games that families can play together at home, trying to keep in mind all of these social distancing things that need to happen. And those are a little bit kind of more highly produced. They're a couple minutes long and meant to be an introduction to a game that you all can then go play together. So a variety of resources there that you might use in a few different ways. And like I mentioned, I do want to kind of give you a feel for them so you can understand those options. And so we're going to watch one of those video library games together. This is the popcorn challenge. So something you could watch with your family and then challenge yourselves.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Coach Brandon. Today we're going to play popcorn. What's the name of the game? Popcorn! This game can be played just about anywhere and with any number of people. All you need is a ball or something to toss up in the air. The goal of the game is to throw the ball in the air and clap as many times as you can before you catch it. To play, form a circle. Have each person take a turn throwing the ball in the air, clapping once, and catching it. Once the ball has made it all the way around the circle, start again with 2 claps. Keep track of how many claps you've done. Each time you successfully throw the ball up in the air, clap, and catch it, move up to the next level. If any time you drop the ball, that's okay. Just pass it to your neighbor. You'll get another turn when the ball comes back to you. When we need to practice social distancing, remember to have your 6-foot bubble between you and your closest neighbor. How many claps can you do? Let's play. Today we're going to play.
Great. So again, one of the options there, it's a quick introduction to a game that you can then play with your family or brothers and sisters or whoever happens to be at your household. These are also great, I think, for teachers to be able to send home. So if you are an educator and looking for fun and engaging things to send home to students, these can be a great one. And to give you more of a sense of the interactive version, we're going to watch one of these Facebook Live videos. And to give you a little more information, these are happening every day at noon, 2, and 4 on our Playworks Facebook page. It is a Playworker from around the country. So you're going to see in a second, this is Coach Desi from Utah and her daughter. And this was the second recess of the day. So the first one at noon is a bit more of a kind of warm up and getting ready for the day, some breathing exercises to be ready to focus and learn. The 2 o'clock is the main game of the day, which is what you're going to see in a minute. And then the 4 o'clock is a cool down and a cheer. So something fun and positive and maybe a moment to reflect on the day. So let's watch Coach Desi here.
Hi everyone, welcome back. We are so excited that you could join us for our second recess of the day, where we get to play at home. My name is Coach Desi. What's my name? Coach Desi. You got it. And we are joining you live from Playworks, Utah. With me to help play this game is my daughter, Karen. She's a 3rd grader at American Leadership Academy. And I bet you want to give a shout out to your friends. Go Eagles! Great. Now, wherever you are joining us from, we are happy that you're here. Just like in the first video, I gave you a chance to invite some people to play. We're going to do that again today. So I want you to invite as many people as you can in your house to play this game. And you can also share this video so that more people can see. My goer today is pineapple. What's my goer? Pineapple. You got it. I'll give you 5 seconds to invite as many people as you can to play. Ready? Pineapple. Zero. Awesome. Welcome back. Thank you to everyone new who has joined. If you're ready to play, I want you to say, Perfect. Before we get started, I want to go over our group agreement so that we're ready to play and we know what we're doing, okay? When I point to myself, I'm going to talk. And when I point to you, you're going to repeat. I will be safe. I will be respectful. I will have fun. So if you're ready to play, give me 2 thumbs up. Great. This week, my friends, our theme is self-management. Today, we are going to practice resilience. Now, resilience, that might be a new word, or you might know what it means. If you've heard this word before, resilience, give me 2 thumbs up. If you've never heard this word, resilience, I want you to give me a wave. Great. Resilience means the ability to recover when things go wrong. So, if we make a mistake, we're able to shake it off, recover, and try again. Even if something goes wrong, even if we make a mistake, we're able to recover and try it again. Now, I want you to keep the word resilience and the meaning in mind when we play this next game. Can you do that for me? Awesome. We are about to play. The name of this game that we are going to play right now is called Red Light, Green Light. What is it called? Red Light, Green Light. Great. I told you you might know this game. If you don't, that's okay. We're going to practice it today. In the game of Red Light, Green Light, I'm going to give you some commands, and you are going to follow the movement that goes along with that command. When I say green light, you are going to walk forward. Just like cars do. When they see green, or when I say green, you're going to move. When I say red light, you are going to stop. Just like cars do at a red light. So when I say red light, what are you going to do? Stop. When I say yellow light, you are going to move in slow motion. Okay? You got it? Now, we're playing outside, and so we've set up some boundaries so that we know where to start and where to stop. If you're playing outside, or if you're playing in your living room or in your room, I want you to take some time to decide where you want to start and where you want to end. Okay? We're going to get set up too. Ready? Pineapple. Great. If you can hear my voice, clap one. If you can hear my voice, clap 2 times. If you're ready to play, say, yeah, Coach Desi. Yeah, Coach Desi. Great. We are going to play Red Light, Green Light. And I want you to keep in mind that word that we practiced at the beginning. Resilience. Okay? So, when I say green light, you're going to move. When I say red light, you're going to stop. And when I say yellow light, you're going to move in slow motion. Are you ready? Here we go. Green light. Red light. Green light. Yellow light. Red light. Oh, nice job. It's okay if you make a mistake. If you make a mistake, I want you to say, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. We're going to shake it off. And we're going to start again. Okay, here we go. Ready? Green light. Red light. Green light. Red light. Oh, awesome. Come on back. Now, my friends, that was great. You followed the command. You did your best. And we also got to practice being resilient. Now, how did we practice being resilient in that game? I'll give you a second to think about it. When we made a mistake, we were able to shake it off and try again. That's what it means to be resilient. When you made a mistake, you got to say what? Awesome. We shook it off and we started again. Even when things went wrong, we were able to recover and get back in the game and play. Now, how did we practice encouraging others to keep going? Did you get a chance to? I know when Terry made a mistake, I was able to encourage her and get her to get right back in the game. And I said, it's okay. She said, I'm awesome. She shook it off and she joined back in. Now, friends, I want you to think of other places where you can be resilient, whether it's at home, whether it's when we're playing another recess game, anywhere. If things go wrong, we have the ability to recover and try again. We can shake it off and we can go forward and do it again. My friends, I love when we get to play fun games and we get to learn something new and practice something new because we got to do something fun. I want to do a appreciation class. You want to do one with me? Okay. This one is called the disco clap, and I'm going to shout out Coach Resil for this one. The way that the disco clap goes is we are going to go 1, 2, 3, clap. We are going to point, and we're going to say, you. Did a good job. Okay, are you ready? Disco clap on 3. 1, 2, 3. You. Did a good job. Thank you so much, friends. We are so happy that you could come and join us and play red light, green light. Now, we have one recess left, and that will be in 2 hours. So please come back and join us for an awesome cool down and an awesome cheer that we are going to learn. Okay? I want you to take a deep breath in right here. Deep breath out. One more. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. All right, friends. We will see you in 2 hours. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.
Awesome. So that was Coach Desi in Utah with her beautiful mountains in the background, which is fantastic. And really just to give you a sense of what those live recesses are like. So again, that's happening 3 times a day, every Monday through Friday, noon, 2, and 4, with a warm up at noon, a game at 2, and a cool down at 4. And also gives you a little bit of a sense of all the sorts of things we do at Playworks. So obviously the game itself, but also thinking about what are those social and emotional skills that students can be practicing through play and learning through play. And then finally that appreciation clap at the end. So making sure that we can incorporate fun little things throughout the day for students to help them feel connected. So I'm actually going to pause there with a couple of my favorite quotes about play and see if we have any questions about what you just saw or any of the resources we have for you.
This is so awesome, Dawn. Thank you so much for sharing all this. It definitely makes me miss being a Playworks coach. But for folks who are watching, I did just put in the comments the link to your Facebook page. So if people want to tune in to the live recesses, you can find them there. We don't have any questions in the comment box as of yet. Please feel free to pop them in if you do have them. I do have a couple of questions for you, Dawn, if you're game for them. So I think this presentation really has spoken to this first question quite a bit. But we also get this sentiment at the Bureau of Student Wellness that sometimes school administrators or districts see our work as secondary to academic instruction and sort of an aside rather than a priority. So how has Playworks responded to some similar conversations, and how do you really emphasize why play and well-being are important in schools?
Yeah, it's a really great question and definitely a conversation we have a lot. I think there's a few things we like to talk about. One is just the importance of physical activity and play just for student development, right? And so the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends 60 minutes of physical activity a day, and we know that recess is actually one of the primary ways that students get that. And so as we're looking at, all of the gaps that are going to happen from this stay-at-home time for our students, one of those is probably going to be physical activity and play as well. So it's an important point there of just encouraging students to get out and move, or to move in their living rooms and whatever that looks like. But back to the importance in the school day. Recess is one of the only things that every student gets every day at an elementary school. And we're hoping that doesn't change when we go back. Obviously, some other precautions might need to be put in place, but I think that emphasizes the need for it, and the fact that we recognize it as an important part of child development. And it's where they're practicing those social and emotional skills, whether you like it or not, right? It's where they're forming habits. It's where they're learning how to interact with each other in positive or negative ways. And it just is a chance for them to develop as humans. So that's kind of why it's so important to us. And I think why it has such a huge impact on the school day as a whole. And so things at recess carry over into the rest of the day, into the classroom, and into the way that students are learning. So it really is helping to build that positive school culture that's going to help students in so many other ways in the classroom.
Definitely. I like that last video you just shared shows all the different facets and ways that the Playworks program really helps to build up skills for students, not just social and emotional skills, but they were learning a vocabulary word during that. The resiliency piece is one of the best things I think about the Playworks program. It's so positive, and it really focuses on fairness and treating everyone, regardless of ability, fairly. And I love that almost all of the games have modifications to make sure that everybody's included in some way. Is Rochambeau still sort of a cornerstone of the Playworks program?
It definitely is. In New England, we don't say Rochambeau, we say rock, paper, scissors. We've never been able to get Rochambeau to take off, but rock, paper, scissors is definitely a cornerstone. And to share with all of you, rock, paper, scissors is what we teach as kind of the first conflict resolution tool a student can use on their own. And so thinking about how many recess problems and really like kid problems in general can be solved with a quick game of rock, paper, scissors. And then you can move on and continue doing what you were doing, rather than spending half of your recess or half of your day arguing over who was first in line, or who got to the ball first, and some of those simple things like that. So we also have a lot of really fun Rochambeau games on our website. So a lot of those can be played with just a couple people or virtually as well.
Definitely. I think to me, it always was shocking how easily Rochambeau or rock, paper, scissors could put out a fire, and the smallest thing, who's first in line, and you just say, oh, Rochambeau, and it turns it into a game, I think, that kids can then latch onto, rather than having it continue as a conflict. So
yeah, it turns into a game, and it's that empowerment piece for students, right? It's a thing they already know how to do, and they can quickly use it on their own to solve a problem, which I think is really empowering. Definitely.
And I think that could probably be a useful tool for a lot of parents who have been at home now for another question I had was, what have been some of the bigger challenges for Playworks as the shift to remote learning has happened?
Yeah, I mean, we have, there's major challenges for everybody. I think our biggest thing is just figuring out how is it that our students can stay active. And so here in New Hampshire, we have a little bit more space than in some of our more urban districts that we work with, which is great. Students are generally still able to get outside a little bit more, but even in the cities here in New Hampshire, that's an issue. And we want to make sure that they're still having a chance to be physically active. So everything we're trying to do is adapted to be playable in a living room or a bedroom or whatever space you have. But that's been a major kind of sticking point for us, is just wanting to make sure that our students are still active and engaging with one another.
Yeah, definitely. I think that even for adults, it's hard. It's strange how the shift in not leaving the house makes it harder to do activity in general. It feels like there's just like the lack of routine and lack of opportunities makes it something you have to initiate yourself. So I love seeing that you guys are doing recess multiple times a day. I think that's a great tool that folks can plug into. I do have a question here. Curious if John could speak about striking the balance between play between ages and developmental stages while remote learning with multiple children in the home. Ooh, that's a did you get that, or do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah, so thinking about it, I'm guessing this is more like if you have a 7th grader and a kindergartner at home, how can we be promoting?
Yeah, I think that's what it's getting at.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I've always been surprised in my time at Playworks with how excited some older students will still get about some of the games that we think of as younger student games, as long as whoever is teaching it to them is excited about it. So that's a big thing, you know, as a parent or as an educator, just bringing your own excitement. Teaching a game that you loved when you were a little kid is going to be much more exciting to the students you're working with than just picking out a random one and trying to figure it out together. So thinking about that, the energy that you're bringing, and then whenever possible, we love to encourage giving older students the empowerment to kind of come up with a game that's going to work for them. So, you know, like I just said, a 7th grader and a kindergartner, saying to that 7th grader, like, I think it would be great if you taught something that you know, one of your favorite games to your younger brother, younger sister, whoever it might be, and give them that empowerment to really like put it together and come up with something that they know that that sibling can do and join in together. Does that answer?
Yeah, I think that really got at it. I also was thinking back to my time, and this might be something that's still going on, is junior coaches. Do they still do that at recess? Yeah.
Yeah. So our junior coaches are our 4th and 5th graders, are our oldest students in the school, and we work with a smaller group of them to really be the play leaders at their school. So think through how they can step up and lead a new game at recess for the younger kids and help them to develop that assertive voice and be able to be a leader in their school building at something that they find fun and interesting and engaging.
Although, as I said that, I'm not sure if parents at home want to assign the role of coach to their own.
You don't want to give them too much power, right?
But I think you're really right. I loved, it was always shocking too how much the coaches would just be all in about the games. You know, play really knows no age. And that's one thing that I think Playworks really teaches us.
Definitely. Yeah. Try to remember back to those days when you were a little kid out playing in the yard and what you love to do, because they'll probably still like it. Definitely.
And that actually segs really nicely into my last question for you, which is, what is your favorite game?
Oh, great question. I have a lot of favorite games. My personal favorite is a game called Sprout Ball. Did you play this when you were a player?
I did. Yeah. Remind me of the rules though, because I forgot. It's been a million years.
Yeah. So it's a dodgeball game. So you got to make sure all those safety things are in place. So you're playing with the really soft, squishy gator balls. And it's a continuous dodgeball game. So whenever there's a ball on the ground, you can pick it up and you can throw it at somebody. But if you get hit, you just take a knee and you watch whoever hit you, because if they get hit, then you're back in. So it's a hard one to play at home with just a couple people. It wouldn't last very long. But that's my favorite big group recess game. Yeah, that's a really fun one. How about you?
I have always loved Rochambeau Rockstar. That's what we called it, or Rock, Paper, Scissors, Rockstar. And yes, that one is where it's like a rock, paper, scissors tournament, essentially, where everybody in the room, again, not social distanced or physical distance safe, but everyone in the room is playing rock, paper, scissors. And if you lose the contest, you then have to cheer for the person that beat you. And then eventually it whittles itself down to only 2 winners in the room who have all of the champions of all the folks who who were beaten and are cheering them on. So it's a good mood booster.
Yeah.
Sure. Excellent. Well, Dawn, I can't thank you enough for sharing your experience and your knowledge of play with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I also, here's my information. So if anybody does want to hear more, or you're looking for something that I talked about today that you didn't see, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to connect.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I did post all the links for the resources that Dawn talked about today in the chat. So feel free to check those out. And we thank everybody for tuning in with us today. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Facebook. And we hope that you have a wonderful day. Thanks again.